Discover the astonishing secrets of how the CIA transformed pigeons, dolphins, and even cats into covert spies with cutting-edge technology. Don't miss this thrilling tale of Cold War espionage. Subscribe now to uncover more gripping stories from the world of intelligence, and never miss an exciting reveal. The world of espionage isn't just for humans. In the shadows of the Cold War, as the superpowers of the United States and the Soviet Union faced off relentlessly, the wildest imaginations were unleashed. The CIA, obsessed with penetrating the enemy's impenetrable fortress, devised a bold idea, turning the most harmless creatures, four-legged or winged friends, into perfect spies. A pigeon soaring over Moscow's skies, a lazy cat lounging under an embassy desk, or a dolphin gliding through deep waters, each carried a deadly secret. Imagine a raven carrying a tiny listening device weaving through Washington's skyscrapers. Its name was Duda, a superstar nurtured and trained in a secretive CIA program called Project Axiolite. Duda was no ordinary raven. It was a masterful aviator. Its trainers grappled with its wild instincts, teaching it step-by-step to recognize targets, follow laser signals, and carry loads heavier than 13 ounces. Once Duda was tasked with placing a listening device on a building's windowsill 300 feet away. Its wings beat powerfully, overcoming winds and fending off aggressive wild ravens to complete its mission. Though the results fell short, Duda proved animals could become part of the intelligence machine, as long as humans were bold enough to try. But the animal espionage race didn't stop at winged creatures. The CIA also targeted aquatic animals. Project Oxygas was launched to train dolphins to attack enemy ships and plant surveillance devices. Dolphins' echolocation abilities surpassed any technology of the time, making them perfect covert divers. Declassified documents reveal bizarre stories of dolphins trained to place simulated explosives on enemy ship propellers. Though a critical demonstration's failure ultimately ended the program, the tale of these underwater spies remains haunting. Perhaps the most bizarre project of all was Acoustic Kitty. It sounds like a joke, but it was a real multi-million-dollar project. A cat was surgically implanted with a microphone in its ear, a transmitter under its skin, and an antenna woven into its fur to eavesdrop on Soviet agents' conversations. A former CIA operative's account describes this monstrosity being hit by a taxi during its first test. Though the CIA denies this, the truth remains buried in heavily redacted documents. These programs, though ultimately abandoned in the mid-1970s, were not meaningless wastes. They are vivid proof of humanity's boundless creativity, even when driven by wartime paranoia. We may laugh at their failures, but we must also marvel at the seriousness with which the CIA invested in turning innocent creatures into weapons. The story of these four-legged spies reminds us that in the world of intelligence, the line between brilliance and madness is often razor-thin. Animal espionage wasn't a Cold War invention. History records many instances of humans harnessing animal instincts for war. Hannibal used war elephants to cross the Alps, creating a military legend. During World War II, the Polish army had a bear named Wojtek, trained to carry ammunition and supplies for soldiers. Even today, animal spy stories persist, from a beluga whale suspected to be Russian near Norway in 2019 to squirrels detained in Iran in 2007 for allegedly carrying surveillance devices. So why, in an era of satellites and drones, do intelligence agencies still turn to these primitive methods? The answer lies in two key factors. First, natural stealth. A human spy risks detection. A drone, however advanced, can be tracked by radar or shot down. In contrast, a pigeon flying in the sky, a cat wandering in a park, or a dolphin gliding underwater are ordinary harmless sights. They can access high-security areas without raising suspicion, gathering intelligence, and returning it to their handlers. In a world rife with paranoia and surveillance, this invisibility is a priceless asset. Second, their unique abilities. Animal espionage programs didn't just rely on disguise, but leveraged innate skills humans lack. For instance, a dog's acute sense of smell can detect explosives or drugs. A dolphin's echolocation can locate underwater objects effortlessly. A pigeon's inexplicable homing instinct makes it a reliable messenger. The CIA and other intelligence agencies saw an opportunity combining high-tech with these natural abilities to create unmatched specialized spies. However, despite their advantages, using animals posed immense challenges. They required costly, time-consuming training. Moreover, animals are unpredictable. A sudden gust of wind, a minor distraction, or a surge of instinct could derail a mission. CIA documents later revealed the frustration of scientists and trainers trying to control these erratic behaviors. These programs were conducted in absolute secrecy, and even declassified documents are heavily redacted, leaving only fragmented pieces of the story. In the mid-1960s, at the height of the arms and intelligence race, the CIA launched one of its most mysterious and bizarre projects, Project Axiolite. Its goal was to train birds to carry and place surveillance devices. The training site was a secret Navy facility on San Clemente Island, California, where scientists and experts worked to turn winged creatures into intelligence tools. They tested various bird species, each with distinct strengths and weaknesses. Cockatoos were tried, but their unpredictable nature made their potential unclear. Hawks named Brandy and Gibby were reliable in locating objects and could carry 13-ounce packages, but were weak flyers unsuitable for long missions. Horned owls responded to high-frequency whistles and had excellent low-light vision, but struggled in daylight. Among the candidates, ravens emerged as the star. A particular raven, Duda, displayed astonishing intelligence. Known for their tool use and problem-solving, ravens like Duda took these skills to new heights. It was trained to fly up to 3.5 miles later, nearly doubling that distance to deliver listening devices. Facing strong winds, it adapted and maintained its course. Duda even showed aerial combat skills, outmaneuvering aggressive wild ravens by flying higher or engaging in dogfights to protect its mission. Duda's achievements exceeded expectations. It was trained to recognize specific objects like desks, open drawers, and carry heavy items like file folders, tasks many deemed impossible for a bird. A notable example involved Duda delivering a listening device to a windowsill 300 feet away, guided by a laser, and retrieving it via a desk lamp signal. However, despite Duda's value, the program faced significant challenges. Molting severely impacted flight. Devices were often misplaced or recorded excessive ambient noise, rendering recordings useless. One document suggests the program was used only once unsuccessfully. Tragically, Duda was killed by wild ravens, mourned by trainers as a superstar devoted to its mission. Though ultimately discontinued, Project Axiolite exemplifies the CIA's wild creativity in seeking unconventional solutions to outwit adversaries. It proved a bird could become a skilled spy, though the risk and failures were substantial. In 1976, the CIA launched one of its boldest espionage programs, using pigeons to photograph Soviet nuclear submarine shipyards in Leningrad. Though seemingly outdated, the goal was logical. U.S. spy satellites and SR-71 Blackbird planes could capture images from high altitudes but couldn't get close enough for detailed shots of sensitive areas. Pigeons, with their ability to fly low and blend into cities, were the ideal solution. To turn harmless pigeons into effective spies, the CIA developed specialized technology, a 39.5-gram 16mm camera attached to the bird's back with a leather and Velcro harness. Equipped with a battery-powered motor and timer, it could capture 150 to 220 high-resolution photos per flight, revealing fine details on ship decks and docks. The biggest challenge wasn't the technology, but the training. The CIA developed a unique method called ABC flight. Pigeons were trained to fly from point A release to point B target and finally to point C home loft. To simulate real conditions, the CIA built temporary lofts and mock landing sites. Training locations spanned Oregon, Virginia, Missouri, and Alaska, the latter chosen for its terrain similarity to Soviet regions. Pigeons were conditioned by being released from different sites daily and rewarded with food upon safe return. However, the program faced numerous difficulties. Despite their strong homing instinct, pigeons remained animals. They often flew too low, getting hit by vehicles, or were attacked by wild birds. The success rate for completing missions was only 25%, a disappointing figure. Losing a pigeon meant losing costly, high-tech equipment and training time. Though a mission was planned for August 1978 to photograph shipyards using covert release methods like overcoats, trick bottom briefcases, or a Volkswagen Beetle's floor, no documents confirm it occurred. Alongside bird-based projects, the CIA explored equally bizarre intelligence avenues. Project Oxygas, launched in 1964, drew inspiration from dolphin research and possibly the TV show Flipper. Its goal was to train dolphins to attack enemy warships and place underwater surveillance devices. Dolphins, with their swift swimming, high intelligence, and echolocation, seem perfect for aquatic missions. Early successes were promising. Dolphins were trained to carry devices and successfully placed simulated explosives on a PT boat's propeller offshore. Specially designed nose cones and harnesses allowed them to carry equipment. Speculation suggests the CIA considered using dolphins to carry miniaturized nuclear weapons, though declassified documents remain vague. The project later shifted to intelligence gathering, including retrieving underwater dead drops over 12 miles. However, dolphins, like other animals, pose challenges. Their social nature and need to bond with trainers made them unreliable in independent field operations. Long-range missions were difficult, and a critical demonstration in December 1967 failed, leading to the program's termination. Meanwhile, in an entirely different vein, Project Acoustic Kitty was a darkly comedic intelligence tale. Started in 1964, it aimed to turn a cat into a mobile listening device. Technicians surgically implanted a microphone in the cat's ear, a transmitter under its skin, and an antenna in its fur to eavesdrop on Soviet agents' outdoor conversations. CIA documents claim the procedure was humane and risk-free, with devices removed post-testing. However, Victor Marchetti, a former CIA operative, painted a starkly different picture. He claimed the cat was a monstrosity, with batteries in its abdomen and wires in its brain to control impulses. According to Marchetti, during its first test to eavesdrop on a Chinese diplomat in France, the cat was killed by a taxi. Though the CIA dismissed this as a joke, the project's existence highlights the agency's desperate and boundless creativity. It was abandoned due to impracticality. Cats were too hard to train, and microphones captured excessive ambient noise, rendering recordings useless. Beyond mammals and birds, the CIA explored insects for espionage. In the 1970s, it developed a listening device called the Insectothopter, a tiny dragonfly-shaped machine with a gas-powered engine. Designed to fly into a room, perch on a wall or ceiling, and record conversations, it was lightweight and could travel 600 feet per minute, guided by a laser. Despite its innovative design, the Insectothopter faced insurmountable technical limitations. The biggest issue was its instability. A light breeze could knock it off course. Controlling it remotely via laser in confined spaces was also challenging. Consequently, it was never used operationally. The Insectothopter's failure starkly illustrates that no matter how bold the idea, the technology of the time wasn't advanced enough to make it reality. It highlights the thin line between imagination and execution. While bird and dolphin programs relied on animals' natural abilities, the Insectothopter depended entirely on technology, and its technical shortcomings relegated it to a footnote in espionage history. The CIA's animal espionage programs, including Axiolite Oxygas and Acoustic Kitty, were largely discontinued by the mid-1970s. A memo from the CIA's deputy director described them as unfocused experimentation with significant resource waste. The animals' unpredictability, high training costs, and inconsistent results made these programs untenable. Yet the core idea of leveraging nature for intelligence purposes persists. It has evolved with advancements in biotechnology and computing. Today, DARPA's programs explore new ways to use living creatures. A notable example is the 2018 Persistent Aquatic Living Sensors project, which investigates using aquatic organisms like bioluminescent bacteria or snapping shrimp to detect maritime activities. Universities are also leading in this field. MIT developed neural probes to control insects remotely, and the University of Washington created the Smellicopter, a drone using insect antennae to detect specific odors. These efforts mark significant progress over the CIA's earlier failures. In retrospect, the CIA's animal espionage programs reflect a blend of Cold War paranoia and boundless human ambition. Though most ended in spectacular failures, they left a strange and captivating legacy. Secrets still lurk in redacted documents, leaving us wondering if any successes remain undisclosed. The story of these animal spies reminds us that, in the intelligence race, the line between brilliance and madness is fragile, and humans are willing to try anything to outwit adversaries, even turning nature into a weapon. The CIA's animal espionage programs, though short-lived, left a complex and meaningful legacy. They weren't just quirky tales from a paranoid era, but testaments to humanity's limitless imagination in a war without gunfire. From Project Axiolite, with the brilliant Raven Duda, Project Oxygas, with Detective Dolphins, to the darkly comedic Acoustic Kitty, all represented ambitious efforts to harness nature's unique abilities for intelligence. Yet despite impressive technical achievements and rigorous training, they failed. The core reason was an uncontrollable factor: animals' unpredictability. We may mock these failures, but they offer a crucial lesson. In the technology and intelligence race, arrogance often comes with great risks. These animal spies remind us that no matter how hard humans try to control and weaponize nature, there are limits that cannot be overcome. Today, as technology far surpasses the Cold War era, the idea of using living creatures continues to be explored. DARPA's projects on bioluminescent bacteria or snapping shrimp show that humans still seek to blend technology with nature, but in more sophisticated and effective ways. Ultimately, the CIA's Animal Spy story is not just a fascinating chapter in intelligence history, but a cautionary tale about ambition risk and the limits of controlling nature. Though secrets remain hidden in redacted documents, what's been revealed is enough to show a side of the covert war between superpowers that is both mad and ingenious.